All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with a plank because why not? It's Sunday. We're gonna have our hands wide at the top of the mat, collarbones are wide, and we're going to have our fingertips spread out like a little starfish. Step 1 foot back at a time so that you are in a long diagonal line. Try not to have your hips piking up or your hips hanging down. So we wanna find that length in the body, find that lifting off of the elbows, broadening the collarbones. You really want to actively send your heart between your shoulder blades. So we don't want to hang down into the shoulders like this. Find that lift and that connection to the middle back as we work. Keep holding that plank and breathing. The breath is going to get you through this. I'd like you to also think about your deep abdominals, your psoas. They are running alongside the spine. Think of them going upbound, right? Like a 2-lane highway. And then we're going up and over our head. And then we'll tifidus up the spine. They're drawing down. It's like a braided cord of muscles and they're drawing down. So it's this kind of oppositional reach as you hold. Let's go for 4. Find the abs drawing up as the spine lengthens, crown of head from tailbone. Last 2. And we're gonna go into a knee and elbow version of that plank. So bring your knees down, flatten out the feet, and then we're gonna walk the elbows down one at a time. We're gonna take all of our long limbs out. So we can find sometimes that we brace and hold with our external structures. Keep holding that plank. We brace and hold with our external structures. When we're all the way up on hands and toes, we're kind of hanging out in elbows and knees and hips and things. When we get into the forearms and the shins, that's when we can find a deeper ab connection. And I know from the outside it looks easier, but I'm hoping you're connecting deeper to the transverse abdominis. Think about like a hammock under your abdominals as you're holding in this diagonal line. Keep breathing. Find that connection in the deep abdominal muscles. We're gonna go for 4. Keeping that diagonal line reaching. This is last 2. And go ahead with intention, come all the way up. If you have a soup can or a dumbbell handy, we're gonna take it into our right hand and we're gonna go into a side bridge. You have options in your side bridge. The middle of the path is going to be left foot in front of right and the left hand down on the mat like so. The more aggressive challenge is going to be a narrow base where your feet are stacked like this. And the less aggressive version is going to be with your knee down like so. That's going to support the body more. So whichever way works for me, you do you. You can have an empty hand, a dumbbell or a soup can, and we're going to sweep under the arc as we rotate. So we're going to inhale and we're going to rotate and round the upper back. The arm sweeps through. And then we're going to exhale and unwind. I'm going to show now the middle range version. We're going to inhale as we arc and rotate. Exhale as we unwind back to start. Keeping the pelvis relatively quiet. It's going to rotate a little bit as you do, but we don't want it to move around or drop down. Exhale as we bring it up. Inhale as we rotate down. I'm going to demonstrate the feet stacked as well, so it's the same range of movement no matter where we have the feet or knees, and it's the same area of focus. It's really wobbly on that narrow base. Let's go for 2 more. Think about not dumping into the elbow or the shoulder that's below you. Find that arc and rotation. This is our last one, and go ahead and set the hips all the way down to the floor. All right, we're gonna go into a crisscross on our backs. So lay down with your head all the way down on the mat, and you're gonna find a neutral pelvis. So you wanna have your hip bone shining straight up to the sky. Interlace your hands underneath the base of the skull. That's gonna give you a little hammock to assist you with your abdominal curl. Feet are flat, knees are bent. We're gonna inhale as you think about your hands tractioning your spine and lengthening you up and off of the floor, all the way up until the bottoms of the shoulder blades peel up off the floor. Notice that there weren't any wrinkles added to the front side of the body. We want to keep the front line of the body long. Float the right leg up to tabletop position. We're feeling that femur head sink deeply into the pelvis. Left leg reaches long out over free space. And we're going to rotate the left shoulder blade up and off the floor. So now we're in a twisted position. That's an inhale. Exhale through center, switch sides. Inhale. Exhale through center, both knees bend. Inhale. Think about the ribs rotating towards the inner thigh rather than the elbow to the knee, okay? Ribs rotate to the inner thigh, shoulder blade peels up and off the floor, and that's where the rotation comes from. We're inhaling for length as we rotate. Exhale for power through the center. Inhale as you rotate for length. The exhale on the base of the ribs brings you back to center. Keeping the hips quiet, thinking about the hamstrings delivering the leg long with the abs every time we extend that single leg. Let's pick up the pace for 4, 4, reaching long, 3, 3, keep the pelvis quiet, 2, 2, here we go, last 1, 1, bring the knees in, center the head, neck, and shoulders, and bring it all the way down. All right, let's go into that side bend, other side. You can grab a dumbbell, you can grab a soup can, wine bottle, pick your poison. We're gonna have our right hand on the floor. Again, our least aggressive position is gonna be the knee down. Middle of the road is gonna be right foot in front of the left, and most aggressive version is going to be the feet stacked. Here we go. Left arm comes up. Check that your right shoulder blade is still melting down and around the rib basket. Here we go. We're gonna inhale as we arc and rotate. It's a little lift through the ribs and bring it back to start. So I'm demonstrating in the most challenging orientation we've got here today. Bring it back through. I'm now gonna demonstrate the middle range. Keep working. So the middle range would look like this. Right foot in front of the left. Again, the pelvis staying quiet. Sweeping through, we're inhaling as we arc and rotate. We have just a few more here, guys. We're going to bring the right knee down if it's feeling aggressive to you. You can always have the dumbbell or not. You have a choice here. Arcing as we rotate. Inhaling. Last 2. Exhale, return to the upright position. This is our last one. Inhale as we arc. Exhale, and bring the hip all the way down. All right, excellent. Let's go into a little downhill ski. So our hands are gonna be wide on the mat. You might wanna roll those shoulders out a little bit. Hands are wide on the mat. And I'm gonna have us pattern downhill ski with a froggy this morning. We're gonna keep a flat back. So we're gonna start with a closed parallel position with our feet like so. Now in class, we pull the knees forward for downhill ski, but when we're on the mat, we shift it back instead. So we think about the tailbone reaching long, and notice that my hips and my knees went towards the right as I leaned back. And then I'm gonna inhale through center. Now the feet change. Now my heels are touching, toes are turned out, and I'm going through the center like a froggy. And then I'm gonna inhale, come long. Now close parallel again, but the knees and the hips go the other direction. Exhale, bring it back, inhale long. Froggy through the middle. Now we know what we're doing, so let's pick up the pace. With control, we want to make sure we are moving from the deep abdominals reaching back and not from swinging through the shoulders. So it's not a hinge through the shoulders, gang. We really want to find first the reaching back like we have a seat belt under the hips, and that's how we'll find the deep core connection as we work. Keep going. As we inhale, we're creating length in the body, and as we're exhaling, we're maintaining that length but narrowing closer to our spine, okay? So we're inhaling as we go into that plank at the center, and then we're exhaling, narrowing around the spine as we're dragging the hips back with control. That moves first before the shoulders hinge. So if your shoulders are moving first, there's a good chance you're riding the shoulder joints, and we want instead to access the deep abdominals. So we're going to exhale, think about the hips reaching back, and then using our breath to send us into that beautiful plank. Even your body out and just go through the center. So once you've got both sides with the same number of diagonal leans, we're just gonna go through the center for 3. Heels are glued together. That helps us find our inner thighs, deep abdominals, low belly, pelvic floor. Hold the last one about halfway. Hold it here. We're gonna do 4 tricep focus push-ups. Here we go. Exhale. The knees and the elbows lower down. Inhale, bring it up. Notice I didn't say touch the floor. Keep your body organized. It's not about how far you go. It is about the quality of movement. Dripping the elbows down. Inhale, bring it up. This is our last one. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, bring it up, and walk both knees down to the mat. All right, guys, now we're gonna use that chair. So grab it if you got it close by. And we're gonna go into a little sequence with some side bends and with some standing work, okay? So I'm gonna be moving my chair around just to show you better for demonstration. You don't need to move yours around, you can just do the work, okay? So we're gonna go into a side bend like we would on our chair when we have it up on the back of the machine, okay? I'm gonna use my hand for support on the edge because I don't have a strap to hold the foot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some side bending to start. We're going to inhale as we arc. My left elbow bent a lot, my right rib spanned open a lot. And then we're gonna exhale as we return to upright. Inhale, I have very little weight on the left hand, the one below me, because I want my abdominals to do that arcing and lifting. Very little weight, I could almost pick it up, okay? So don't kind of load into that hand and shoulder. Keep the effort through the waistline. Inhale as you arc. Exhale as we bring it back to center. 2 more here. Inhale as we arc. Really challenge your body to find length and use the base of the ribs to bring you back upright on that exhale. Inhale as we arc. Exhale, let's hold it in a diagonal. So you should feel a lot of effort. It's that middle range of movement. You should feel major connection to both sides of the waistline. Think about that inner thigh of the right leg reaching beyond the sole of the foot. You should feel that leg plug into your abdominals. Hips are stacked. And now I'm gonna float that right leg up off the floor, just an inch or 2. Hold and breathe, hold that leg up. Right arm comes up. And now we're gonna do a little lateral raise. Little lateral raise. So all that means, guys, is that I'm thinking about creasing at the top of the hip. Creasing at the top of the hip. Think about the kneecap absorbing up into the quadriceps. The inner thigh is longer than the sole of that foot. I have a little bit of weight on that left hand, but not a whole lot. Find your waistline lengthening and lifting to support the core. Last 4. This is 3. This is 2. And with control, bring the leg and arm all the way down. All right. I'm feeling it too. I hear that. I'm feeling you. All right, guys, we're gonna go into a little step up and side squat combo. So make sure your chair is secure. We're gonna be putting our weight on it, but we're not gonna be rising all the way onto it, okay? So first, let's take the right foot flat onto the chair. Knee is aligned, big toe, second toe. And then we're going to step back a little bit today. Whoop, there we go. Step back a little bit today, and we're on the ball of the left foot. So the right foot on the chair is flat, we're on the ball of the right foot. We're gonna go through a few here, going into a bend with the left leg. That's an exhale. Inhale as you bring it up. Now you can always have your dumbbells if you want to. I'm just gonna do empty arms out to the side. Exhale down. Inhale as you bring it up. Entirely up to you. What I want you to connect to is under the sole of the right foot, really imprint it deeply into the chair. I don't want you pushing down, but I want you to find access to the back side of that right leg while we're working. Exhale as we soften the left knee, keeping the torso upright. Inhaling as we raise using the breath. Not a push from the ground. Last 2. Here we go. This is our last one. We're gonna hold. Now we're gonna swivel. I'm turning on the ball of that left foot and turn the right foot out. Now we're gonna go into a side squat. So we're gonna exhale as we lower down like so. My heel is still raised on the left foot. Arms are coming up. Both knees are bent in, turn out. That's an exhale. Inhale as you bring it all the way to the left leg standing. Right leg will stay bent. Exhale as you crease back. Inhale as you bring it up. Think about the right hip melting towards the floor. It's really gonna wanna kind of climb up and crowd the shoulder. Think about like a weighted sandbag hanging off of that right sitting bone. The inner thighs are spiraling forward on the way down, and the inner thighs are absorbing up alongside the spine, especially on that left side as you rise up. Exhale as we lower, I'm bowing forward. Inhale as we lengthen up tall. Exhale down, let's go for 2 more like this. Really find the connection under the entire sole of the right foot on the chair, like it is melting into the chair. It's gonna help you access a lot more through that leg. Hold the next one down, arms come up and out, hold and breathe. Now we're gonna imagine we're sitting lower in a chair. So it's about length, reaching back. And we're reaching back. You should feel that right femur head sinking really deeply into the hip socket. So that femur head absorbs into the hip socket every single time, and it's actually rotating outbound a little bit. So it's going to be rotating away. So you should feel that kind of bone sliding into place. Last 3, all 5 toes on that left foot are active. Don't load into just one side or the other. Hold the next one down for 4, 3, 2, and bring that left heel down. Go ahead, rise up, and take your right foot off the chair. All right, if you do have weights, we're gonna go into a squat, not in turnout, we're gonna go in parallel, and we're gonna do a row with the dumbbells, wine bottles, soup cans, whatever you got. If you have a resistance band, that would work here too. Palms face in, all 10 toes are shining straight forward and feet are parallel. We're gonna exhale, the elbows, hips, and knees are all gonna bend. Exhale like so. Inhale as you lengthen, lifting the ribs off of the pelvis to rise. Exhaling down. Inhaling to float up, making sure we're finding connection across the entire soles of both feet, like they're melting through the floor. I also like to think about my bones reaching through the floor every time I come up. So when you're coming up, think about your bones going through the floor all the way to Middle Earth, and your muscle pants are drawing up alongside the ribs. So really think about that oppositional experience where you've got the bones reaching down and you've got the muscles reaching up. You might be able to see me shaking. I'm working hard too, guys. Exhale as we lower down. Inhale, bring it up. Let's go into some foot roll patterning. Keep working with your dumbbells if you want them. I'm gonna take a break. Holding your squat, hold. You can hold the dumbbells here. You can hold them outbound or on your hips. I'm gonna ask for the right inner thigh to pick up the right heel. Hold right there. Check in with your body. Did your hip pop up? Make sure that we kept the pelvis level. Did you roll out onto the pinky toe? There's a pretty good chance you did. Keep the entire ball of the foot connected even when we're up on the heel. Now I'm gonna ask you to raise your heel 1/2 inch. That's my shaky spot. Or you can lower it down 1 centimeter. Kind of play around with your heel height and find that place where you start to feel this inexplicable tremble up your body. Those are your dimmer switch muscles you're finding, your stabilizers that access your core. All right, send the right heel through the floor as you draw the right muscle pants up. Keeping the belt line level, pick up the left heel using the left inner thigh. Keep the hips level, hold. Just check in with your body. Make sure you have equal weight across the ball of the foot. And we're gonna lower and raise the heel a tiny. Find your challenge position. If you're doing this with someone who's quarantining with you, then you can be really confident that their heel height for their shaky spot is different than yours. So don't worry about where anyone else's is, find your shaky spot. And go ahead and send that heel through the floor, muscle pants draw up. Okay, right side again. Now that we know what we're accessing, what we're looking for, we're gonna pattern a little more quickly. As the right heel goes down, the left heel picks up. And as the left heel goes down, the right heel picks up. As the right heel goes down, the left heel picks up. I like hands on hips because it keeps me really organized with the pelvis. Otherwise, I kind of want to do a little belly dancing as I switch side to side. So you want to keep the pelvis really quiet. You want to feel the femur head sinking deeply in every time the heel raises. Last 2. Hold the left heel up. Hold the left heel up. Staying there without pitching your body weight forward or getting taller. Use the right inner thigh to pick the right heel up. I'm gonna have us do it again because I know the first time with both heels we tend to kind of pitch forward. So let's do it again. Pick up the right heel first this time. Find your shaky spot, equal weight across the ball of the foot. Try not to pitch forward. We're gonna pick up the left heel also. And now from here, guys, empty hands or dumbbells, they come up alongside the ears, holding and breathing. And we're going to reach the tailbone back and we're gonna lengthen up. It should be pretty darn wobbly. If it is not, play around with your heel height. Check in that you have a neutral pelvis. That means that the base of the ribs and the ASIS, these sticky outy bits here, are on the same plane. We don't wanna kind of poke the ribs forward or roll the tailbone under. You want them both to be in their natural aligned position. Reaching back, creasing deeply at the hips. Remember those downhill skiers we were just doing with our hands on the floor? That same sensation of the pelvis dragging you back. Last 2. Last 1. With intention, both heels melt through the floor. Muscle pants draw up as you inhale and rise. All right, guys, we're gonna go into a little inversion set, so don't let that scare you. I'm not gonna ask you to come all the way up into a handstand or a headstand, but it's really good for our body physically to go upside down. It's also very good for our frame of mind. I'm gonna use my chair, but you can also do the same thing with your feet on the floor, okay? So if your chair is not sturdy, for sure use the floor if it has wheels or something. All right, from here, you're going to have your hands on the mat if you're using a chair. If you're not using a chair, you're gonna have your forearms and your head on the mat like this, okay? So I'm gonna have my hands down, and then I'm gonna step 1 foot at a time back onto the chair. And I'm gonna start in a pike position. So I have my heels touching, toes turned out. I'll demonstrate the floor too in just a second. Heels touching, toes turned out either way. Your hands are lifting away from the floor, or your forearms are lifting away from the floor. And now we're gonna send just the right leg up and back. And bring it to the chair or the floor. And now the left leg, up and back. Bring it to the chair or the floor. Keep working. I'm gonna demonstrate on the floor as well, okay? So slowly lifting and lengthening with control. If you've chosen the floor today, you wanna have your head down like this. You're not dumping any weight into the neck. Your pike position is the same as it was on the chair, and we're lifting one leg at a time. Same thing. Inhale as you extend. Exhale, bring it down. Think about that lift from under the pelvis as we're working. One more on the right side. With control, set the leg down. One more on the left side. With control, bring the leg down. And then if you're on the chair, step 1 foot at a time all the way down to the floor. Nice job, you guys. I know those can be pretty tricky, so thank you for trusting me to try those with me. And that's a great way, like I said, to kind of reset your mood or your brain. Turn yourself upside down and you'll be in a much better place. All right, let's go ahead and lay on our backs with that chair, or your feet can be on the floor. We're gonna go into a little bridge. So we're going to take our arms long on the floor, and we're gonna bring our heels today. Our heels are gonna come onto the chair, 4 inches apart, parallel. I'm gonna give myself a little more room. So you wanna be in a nice tabletop position to start with. I don't want you at the front edge of the chair because you could push it over. So we wanna go down bound on the chair with our body weight, okay? Heels go down onto the chair, arms actively imprint into the floor. And we're gonna think about the glutes and the hamstrings and the middle back working together to lift and lengthen the body up into a bridge. Hold and breathe. Now we're gonna allow the hips to lower down about 2 to 3 inches, crease at the hips again. I'm tractioning the pelvis away from the crown of the head. Inhale, remove the crease on the front side of the pants. Exhale as you crease. Inhale, kneecaps reaching away from the ribs, really lengthen the legs. Exhale to crease. If you're feeling pretty grippy through the hamstrings, I want you to actively visualize your glutes, your glute max, glute med, glute min. Think of it all sending the pelvis upbound rather than allowing the hamstrings to take over. You can also really imprint the arms strongly into the floor below you, and that's gonna help support the hamstrings as well. It is not a one muscle trick show, all right? We want everybody working synergistically the whole time. Think about the inner thighs, keeping your knees aligned with big toe, second toe as we're working. Think about the pelvis being lifted by recruiting the glutes. Find traction and lengthen the spine as you lower and lift. Let's go for 2 more here. This is going to be our last one. With control, hold it at the top. We're going to articulate and roll down from under the heart. Think about setting down spaces between the vertebrae. Think about your inhale adding length as you lower all the way down. Unwind the pelvis, and then go ahead and take your feet off of the chair, or if you're on the ground, just go ahead and come on up. All right, guys, from here, we're gonna go into the side bend on the other side. So again, you don't have to move your chair, I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes. We're gonna sit on our right hip, right leg is folded in a half lotus position, and left leg is long. Right hand is only for balance support. We don't wanna load our weight into it, okay? So here we go. We're gonna think about that inner thigh reaching long. We're gonna inhale as we arc. Very little weight in that right hand. Exhale, the ribs return you upright. Inhale as you arc and lengthen. Exhale, the bottom of the ribs returns you upright. The arm adds additional cardio challenge, and it reminds us that our arms can come overhead. We spend so much of our time just kind of walking around with our arms down. Arms are meant to come up and overhead also, guys. Inhale as you arc, exhale as you bring it back. Can you lift that right hand up every time to remind yourself not to weigh into it? Inhale as you lengthen. You just want it there for balance support. Fanning the ribs, exhale as you return to start. Let's hold that next one in a nice diagonal. So hold the diagonal. You should feel a lot of effort because you're in that middle range of movement, okay? That left inner thigh reaches under the sole of the foot and beyond. Very little weight in this right hand. Hips are stacked, here we go. Lateral raise on that left side. So we're creasing at the hip. Creasing at the hip. Inhaling as we lengthen. Keep your head in line with the spine. It's really tempting here to watch the world like this, but we want to keep the head in line with the spine. Really protect the neck and engage the core more deeply as well. You can have the arm up for additional cardio challenge. Last 4. Think about a little baby bend in that knee. I don't even need to see it. Think about a little baby bend to plug the leg into the abdominals. We're gonna go into that little step up side squat combo. This is gonna be our last one here. And bring the leg all the way down. All right, quick side note, if that's ever uncomfortable for your knee to bend this deeply, you can do that one like this. I should have mentioned that before, but you can do it like this, all right? Let's go into that step up side squat combo. We'll start with the step up first. So we're gonna have our left foot on the chair, and it is parallel and flat. We're gonna have our right foot just behind the hip on the floor behind us, and we're on the ball of the right foot. Level out the pelvis, first things first. So think about a sandbag weighting the left side of the pelvis down to level out your belt line. I also like to think about this left femur bone, this thigh bone stretching, if that bone could stretch. And it further helps me to find that alignment through the pelvis. All right, guys, here we go. Dumbbells are in your hands if you want them. We're gonna take a forward raise this time. We're gonna exhale as we lower down. Inhale as you bring it up. Now, if you have a resistance band, you could just have that in your hands, and you could find some resistance there as you lower down. And inhale, come up. Now, don't lose that connection under the left foot. We want to really find that activation through the backside and inner thigh. You can even test it out. If you don't believe me, try the next one where you don't put a lot of weight in that left foot and load your weight into the ball of the right foot. And now this left leg becomes kind of a throwaway. That's not what we want. Everything works together all the time. Imprint the left foot with intention into the chair. As we lower down, you should feel lots of firing going on all through that leg. Then think about the ribs lifting off the pelvis and that right inner thigh coming alongside the spine to raise you. Exhaling down, inhaling to come up. The arms are a little bonus challenge if it's accessible to you today, not required. Last 2, we're gonna swivel into that side squat. Coming up next, exhale down, inhale, come up, stay here. I'm gonna rotate the foot on the floor. I'm gonna step out just a tiny bit wider from where I was standing. You might not need to, that's just how my body was oriented. And then we're gonna exhale as we lower into that squat. Inhale as we bring the right leg long. I'm gonna show it from a profile, keep working. So the idea is that we were just upright in our step up, and now I'm asking for a forward bend. So we're exhaling as we lower down. Think about the left hip reaching from the left ribs. Inhale as we bring it back to upright. Both legs are in turnout now. They were in parallel before. And inhale as you bring it up. We're gonna go for 3 more here. Exhaling down. Inhale to bring it up. Every time we lower down, the sitting bones are broadening wide like a fan at the base of the pelvis, and they're narrowing to help raise you. Especially on that left side with the bent leg, that is really broadening on the way down, narrowing on the way up. Hold the next one in that squat. So we're holding low, and now we're gonna do an imaginary chair behind us that we're gonna sit down. And then we're gonna just tap onto that imaginary chair and raise. Arms can be up and out for additional challenge, not required. You can always touch onto the chair for a little balance support. Last two. This is going to be our last one. Hold and breathe for 3, 2. With control, right heel goes down. Inhale and rise all the way up. All right, last thing today, guys. We're going to go into a push-up set on the chair, and then we stretch. You made it already, so set the dumbbells down if you had them. If your chair is sturdy, hands are on the chair, otherwise go all the way to the floor. We're gonna bring our feet into a wide turned out position. We wanna work in lots of different angles, yeah? Hands are at the edge of the chair, so if you can open the wrists a lot. I'm gonna scooch back, otherwise I'm gonna bump my head on the chair back. Draw the navel up and in. Elbows are gonna go outbound as we exhale, and then we're gonna inhale as we bring it up. We're gonna exhale. Think about the heart lifting between the shoulder blades. I do not care how low you travel in the push-up. It is more about staying organized, keeping the collarbones wide, keeping the shoulder blades dropping down and around the ribs. Last two. Hold the next one halfway. Hold and breathe. Think about a piece of paper going under the right foot. You don't need to see it change, just think about it. And set it back down. Think about a piece of paper going under the left foot. And set it down. Right foot one more time. And bring it down. This is the last one, guys. We stretch next. Piece of paper under the left foot. Equal out the weight with a great big inhale. Come all the way up and step your feet in. Gorgeous job, you guys. All right, let's finish with a flat back stretch. I'm going to turn my chair around again. You don't have to. It's just a little easier for demonstration purposes. Hands are on the edge of a chair. You can also do this right on a wall if your chair is not a good height for your body. So we're creating a long line. I don't want to force you into a 90-degree shape. If you feel any tightness in the knees or the low back, you don't want to be in a 90-degree shape, but you want to be in approximately 90 degrees, but I don't want you in a 7 hanging like this, okay? We want to find it in an active stretch. So we have nice long lines in the body. Navel is drawn up and in. We're looking straight down at the floor. Just take a nice deep breath here. Now we're going to go into a little fascial flossing. We're going to soften one knee and then the other. So we're lubricating the fascia that help our body with functionality and flexibility and just overall wellness. So you don't want your fascia, what's holding everything together, to be dehydrated and stiff, especially when we're home right now so much and we're not moving around as much as we normally would. It's really helpful to open up the back line of the body. You can think about fascia kind of like a cat suit. It's holding everything in all over your body, even up and over your head. All right, guys, so go ahead and hold here. Now I'm gonna ask you to bend your right knee so much that the heel peels off the floor. The right arm is gonna arc through, kind of like that first exercise we did, but now we're just holding a stretch. You're gonna feel a deep stretch through the left side of the body, the left hip, and through the right upper shoulder. Take a nice deep breath here. Go ahead and unwind. Both hands come to the chair or the wall. Right foot is flat. Left knee bends a lot. Left heel picks up. Rotate, stretching through the side body. Hold and breathe here. Go ahead and walk both hands back to the wall or the chair. And then we're going to bring them to the floor or your shins. Everyone hands comes to the shins. We're going to finish with a really slow roll up. So take twice as long as you think you need to. We're inhaling, adding space between the ankles, space between the knee joints as our hands trace up the front side of the body. You want to think about adding space between the joints as you work. The spine unwinds. The last thing to come up are the head, neck, and shoulders. Open the arms towards the sky. Even though you are arcing the upper back, you want to keep the deep abdominals engaged. Soften the back side of the knees just a little. Go ahead and hold here, guys. We look forward so much on our phones and our computers. Stay here. I want you to really access the extensors, the back side of your neck muscles. Shouldn't feel like your head's dropping back. Actively holding up, stretching the front side of the neck and strengthening on the back side. Last two. With intention, navel draws up and in as we imprint the arms to the sides. Beautiful work. Happy Sunday. And let's jump into our Q&A.